watch Totally Spies more than the average person. And by that I mean the average person has not watched the show in over a decade. And on my most recent rewatch, I came to the conclusion Jerry Lewis is the worst person in the show. Yes, even when compared to the villains that have tried to doom the world, such as Dr. Geely, who froze the world to create a new ice age to kill off humans for damaging the planet, in the episode The Iceman Cometh.
Destroying Earth's natural resources, and I've come to realize that you people don't deserve it.
Or Cosmo Stratus, who tried to steal all the gravity from Earth because no one would hire her as an astronaut, so she brought space to the Earth in Astronaut. Jerry is worse than villains who have kidnapped the girls, such as Lemire in A Spy is Born, who kidnapped Alex and made the other two star in his insane movie.
Alex has been kidnapped.
No, Alex has been kidnapped.
Oh yes, that's what I said.
Wait, you know?
Yes.
Or Sam, who was brainwashed into joining the Sisterhood, which is an ancient group of warrior women who seek to eradicate all men and inferior women who are not part of the Sisterhood in the episode Wow.
Tomorrow we shall take our rightful place in this world after eradicating all men.
And Clover, who gets kidnapped every other episode, yet Jerry is still topping the list of the worst character. He's even worse than Mandy, the girl's high school to college foe, who made it her own personal mission to ruin these girls' lives for no reason. She had a less detrimental effect on these girls' lives than their boss Jerry. I have made this entire video to convince you that this man is the true villain of this show. Some might say the girls deserve the treatment they get from Jerry because they signed up for this when they chose to become spies, but they didn't. I went over this in my video for the Totally Spies origin movie, but I shall give a quick summary on how the girls became spies working for Whoop. All three of the girls moved to Beverly Hills to start a new school. The three of them met when a giant sushi roll accidentally drops and chases after the girls. The three girls end up on top of the sushi roll, and Porky, Alex's future pig, ends up being chased by the roll. This whole thing was a way to introduce the girls to each other, and it was a test to test their problem solving skills. Luckily they figured it out, or they would have been crushed by a giant sushi roll. This was all set up by Jerry and the Whoop agent. Now let's move on how Jerry met the girls. The next day, after this whole sushi roll incident, the girls discover they all go to the same school. This is where he first kidnaps them. They thought they were being kidnapped by aliens at first. Jerry tells the girls that they have been chosen to join the top secret institution aimed at fighting crime globally. He tells the girls that they have been monitoring them for years to determine they would be amazing spies, and Clover calls him a creep.
You monitor us? Hello, creepy much? Okay, that's it. I'm calling the cops.
As she should. That is bloody weird. These are videos from inside of their houses, not just the street, in their rooms. The girls all reject his offer and leave. I would also like to just interject an important piece of information. He says the girls have the spy gene, which is something that's brought up throughout the series, that there's a certain gene that determines if you're going to be a good spy. Their mums have it, and we find that out later in this episode called Totally Busted.
Our tests confirm that they each possess the spy gene. The only genes these girls appear to have are designer genes.
How did he get these girls' DNA? He didn't ask. Moving on. After rejecting Jerry, the next day, Sam's computer explodes after it caught the Whoop virus. Wonder where that came from. Alex gets left in the desert after Whoop relocates her, and Clover gets thrown in prison after her card gets declined. Pretty sure that's not a crime. They would just not give her her smoothie, but she got put in prison. He acted as if the girls had a choice on whether or not to join. Then he proceeded to harass them into joining, and the first thing he does after they finally agree to be spies, after he forced them to be, is throw them out of a plane with glee on his face. All without parental consent, I would like to add. You can't even take a kid out of school without permission from their parent or guardian, let alone fly them to another country and throw them out of a plane. These children, they are freshmen. They are 14 or 15 years old, and this man just threw them out of a plane, then forces them into a 48-hour training thing. After forcing these children into becoming spies and putting their life on the line, you would think that he treats them somewhat decently. You would be wrong.
I can't believe it! We're being blackmailed by a bald geezer!
That's balding.
The first episode where I really questioned Jerry's leadership is in the episode The Getaway. The girls start the episode talking about how difficult their mission that they were just on was, and how they are completely wiped and tired and exhausted. The girls even mess up their track meet because of how worn out they are. Then Jerry immediately summons them, like normal, in the most inconvenient way, then tells the girls that he's sending them on holiday in Hawaii. Look how happy these girls are.
A mission to relax. You're no asset to Whoop when you're stressed, so I'm sending you on vacation.
They get to Hawaii and are greeted by this lady who is hired by Whoop, and the girls all go their separate ways to enjoy the beach. Alex runs into this guy who is a research assistant called Corey, and they really hit it off and decide to go surfing together. Corey gets back to shore first and disappears in a ball of flames in front of Alex. Alex tells the girls what happened, with Corey disappearing and only Obsidian being left with the fact that he earlier mentioned that his mentor has also gone missing from the volcano. The girls conclude that there's some weird connection to the volcano, so they decide to go to Iceland, where Whoop has a volcano research facility. They get there and find out there has been volcano readings all over the world signaling eruptions, but none of them have gone off, but people do keep disappearing. They go back to Hawaii and discover an evil lair in the volcano with the professor and Corey as prisoners. Then we meet this Red Skull reject who is apparently responsible for all of this, and they fight. His evil backstory is the lava melted off his face, and now he's going to melt everyone else's faces off so that they can match. Winning. The girls are saving the day, the lava is rising, then they notice the lava smells like garlic. Sam scoops it in her hand, and it is not lava, but it is marinara sauce. This was all a test, and Jerry set this all up. He heard these children talking about being overworked, and then he tricks them into thinking that they were going on vacation. What a cruel man. These children are begging for a break, and he goes, I'm gonna trick you into thinking you're gonna get a break, and then I'm gonna stress you out again. Oh, and you want to know how the episode ended? They were causing so much havoc and commotion inside the volcano that the real volcano underneath went off and the girls had to save Jerry's life. I think they should have left him in there. I'm only slightly joking. The next episode where I thought Jerry was the problem is the episode The Fugitives. The episode starts with the girls at school living a life. Then they get summoned to Whoop abruptly like they normally do, but this time when they arrive, they are surrounded by a bunch of Whoop henchmen. I actually don't know what these guys do other than follow Jerry around. Anyways, the girls are captured in an electric dome and Jerry shows them footage of them robbing a bank. The girls are confused. Jerry announces that he is going to reprogram the girls.
We're going to implant behavioral modification chips into your brains. You'll never have another aggressive thought as long as you live.
The girls eventually escape just as they are bringing in the brainwashing device. They head to the weapons room and get some gadgets. Jerry is still chasing them. At no point did he ask them if they did it. He had no faith in these girls at all. If I was Sam, Clover and Alex, I would be insulted, not over the fact that he's accusing me of robbing a bank, but that he believes that I'm dumb enough to get caught on camera waving. They are world-class spies, and he thinks that they're just stupid. Obviously, it was not them. Some villain got a hold of their DNA, made a bunch of evil clones, but that is not the focus of this video. The focus is Jerry spends the entire day hunting these girls down to brainwash them, and at no point did he think that they are innocent. It was not until the girls had already solved the case that he realized he was wrong. It took a bag full of spy clones for him to get the hint, and then reasonably the girls pelt him with snowballs. I would have chosen bricks instead of snow, but work with what you have. Going back to when he arrested the girls, Jerry said that there's nothing he can do.
Sorry, girls. It's out of my hands.
He is the head of Whoop. There's a bunch he could do actually. He just didn't try. Next episode that highlights his awful treatment of the girls that he forced to become spies is in the episode Spies vs. Spies, when he throws them away. The episode is probably the most disrespectful Jerry has ever been. The girls get summoned on a mission to find who has been destroying the energy plants around the globe. The girls head to the next suspected target and arrive undersea to discover a robotic spider trying to blow up the pipelines. The girls try and stop it, but fail. Just as the spider is about to blow up, a projectile knocks it off, and 3 unknown divers appear, getting rid of the spider, saving the day. The girls get brought up from the sea and meet the 3 spies who save them, who introduce themselves as members of Whoop, to the shock of the girls. They clearly. Look at their shocked face. They head back to Whoop headquarters and Jerry is in shock. Turns out these three are Jerry's former spy team who went missing over 7 years ago. Sam starts asking some reasonable questions to the girls like, where have you been for 7 years? And how did you get there? And they look annoyed at her. Jerry kind of just brushes off what Sam's saying. Just then, an alarm goes off telling them another plant is under attack. Jerry suggests that all the spies go together. The old spy saves the day yet again. The new spies get washed away to sea with so much help from their predecessors, as you can see. They literally made fun of them when Sam, Clover and Annex disappeared and Whoop could not find them, thinking they were dead, and Jerry did not
If there's anything we've learned over the years, it's that this job has a way of weeding out the weak.
defend them in the slightest, thinking they were dead as these girls mocked the possibly dead children. Luckily, the girls are not dead. Shocker.
I was fortunate enough to have known Sam Clover.
Don't people generally write eulogies after someone bites the big one?
And you know how Jerry celebrates them being alive? By firing them. You might be thinking, oh, if these girls never wanted to be spies in the first place, why are they not happy about being fired? This man forced them to be spies, telling them that they are the only ones who could do the job, told them that they were special and only they could save the world. The girls start to believe that. Then he abruptly rips the rug from under them and tells them that they were just placeholders for the true spies, his favourite team. He built them up and then tore them down. He trained them to be world-class spies, flew them around the world, has world leaders thanking them, and now they feel that they are nothing, just everyday civilians. They definitely got addicted to the thrill and are scared that this would probably be the most interesting thing that they ever do in their life. So of course that they're sad that they're getting fired.
Actually, I have wonderful news. You're officially retired. My original spies have taken your place.
Long story short, the old spies were being mind controlled by the villain who kidnapped them 7 years earlier. When the new spies save them, they decide to retire, clearly upsetting Jerry. He does not want them to go. All 3 of the episodes I just mentioned were in season 1, aka the first year he worked with these girls. After all the effort that he went to recruit them, he took every chance to show these girls that he did not trust them, and he also tried to replace them. The final episode I just talked about was episode 17. So prior to that, they had been on 16 episodes worth of missions and the movie, at least. It is implied that they do more missions off screen. They did so much for Jerry that apparently meant nothing to them. He tried to throw these girls away. Slight deviation. Who was saving the world in between the new girls and the old girls? Was there a secret third team that Jerry just never mentioned? Did he lose them too, but just didn't care that much? No wonder he was so prepared to start writing their eulogies. He had practice, because apparently he just loses spies and then replaces them. He had Tad before that in the movie I mentioned earlier, but Jerry always had a team of spies. In one episode he does hire Mandy as a spy. I am 100% sure it was just to piss off the girls. He is not only a menace to these girls, but also to his own twin brother. We are introduced to the character Terrence Lewis, Jerry's twin brother, in the episode Evil Promotion March Part 1. When the girls get promoted and they get sent to a secret training facility run by Terrence, who for the majority of the episode tends to be their host, and at the end of the episode reveals himself to be Jerry's twin brother, who is out to get revenge on him. Why does he want revenge? When they were kids, Jerry was caught cheating in a test, but he blamed it on Terrence, causing him to get expelled. Apparently that derailed his life so much.
While little Terrence's life spiraled downward, and he turned to pilfer and pennies just to survive.
How did his own brother join his organisation without him knowing? He didn't even change his name. Terrence hated his brother so much that he had facial reconstruction surgery to not look like him anymore. Anyway, after his initial revenge scheme failed, Terrence decided to create a group called the Lamos, which stands for League Aiming to Menace and Overthrow Spies. Comprised of him and a bunch of reoccurring villains, Jerry ruined this man's life and sent him into a spiral. Terrence was not the only sibling of Jerry's to go down a life of crime, as shown in the episode Operation Whiskey. In the Totally Spies spin-off series, The Amazing Spies, we meet Jerry's sister, Sherry. Okay, Sherry might have been crazy, and it might not be entirely Jerry's fault that she went down this path, but he did again rat out his sibling that got them in trouble, and then eventually they went to a life of crime. So I'm blaming Jerry on that one too.
I guess it couldn't hurt.
What's going on in here? Are you children sneaking cookies again?
It's not me, Mummy. It's Sherry. Sherry's the cookie thief.
Now I want to talk about his poor management of Whoop and clearly awful vetting process that he has for his agents. I've been talking about Whoop for the entire video. I'm going to give a deep dive into the organisation. Whoop is an acronym for the World Organization of Human Protection. It was founded by this channel's personal enemy, Jerry, in the 1970s. The Whoop that we see in the show is based in LA, California. We are shown throughout the show that Whoop has multiple international bases such as in Iceland, France, Japan, Australia, and many more places. So judging by all the information I just gave you, we can both gather that Whoop is a big deal considering how wide of a reach it has. So can someone explain to me why it is under such poor management? The number of Whoop agents that have turned evil is insane. The majority of the villains that these girls are fighting are just people who used to work for Whoop. The first former Whoop agent that we meet is in episode 2. The new Jerry is Tim Scam. Jerry's failure came back to haunt him early in the show. This guy kidnaps Jerry and tries to kill the girls, and his evil plan is to evaporate all the water on Earth because he is salty Jerry fired him.
Never did appreciate me for the genius that I am.
Then we have Myrna, initially a good character in the episode Space Much. When she's tasked with babysitting the girls, she was a good character. But when she returns in Evil Valentine's Day, she tries to marry Jerry so that she can control Whoop after Jerry fired her after working for Whoop for 30 years. He fired her. Really get why she was mad. I think the most notable former Whoop agent is Boogie Gus, who almost became the creator of Whoop when he stole a time machine from modern day Whoop when Boogie Gus was a custodian at Whoop, and then he went back into the 1970s when Jerry started Whoop to say that he created it. Why are the weapons in Whoop not secured? And when they're stolen, why is there no form of alarm to go off? And you know in the movie I mentioned earlier, which is the Totally Spies origin story, where we see the first time these girls met and their first mission as well. This is Tad from that movie. He was previously Jerry's favourite agent, I'm assuming after the other girls that we saw earlier, but he became jealous of Sam, Clover and Alex, so he tried to kill them by letting the villain of the movie, Fabu, launch them into space.
Help! I have an acute fear of being tied to exploding projectiles!
I just spoke about 4 different types of Whoop job: former agent, babysitter, custodian, and right-hand man, all turned evil under Jerry's watch. Now that we have covered, Jerry is terrible at recruiting people because a lot of them turn evil, then get fired, then seek revenge. The ones that do stay at Whoop are not good at their job. A good portion of the Totally Spies episodes are just the girls recatching villains that they have already caught who escape from Whoop holding facilities, and a good portion of time the girls don't find out until they're being attacked. How do you not notice someone's not in their cell? Sebastian Sage, who was the first ever villain these girls caught in the series, then 1 season and a half later he escapes again. They didn't even notice he escaped until he started wreaking havoc. Then we have good old Violet introduced to us in the episode Evil Bouquets Are So Passé, where she sent men in flowers that sent them into a coma because a guy broke her heart.
There are a lot of angry, hurt women out there, and we all want revenge. You tell it, sister!
The next time we see Violet Vanderfleet is when she was accidentally released in the episode Baddies on a Blimp, along with 2 other villains, Manny Wong and Yves Montblanc. 3 villains escape in a singular episode. The whole episode was about the girls testing out a new state-of-the-art blimp that was meant to fly itself. The second there was a small storm, the ship's power went down and these 3 villains escaped. They were taking these 3 villains to Whoop Island. Whoop Island is a whole other thing I have to mention. The first time we know of its existence is in season 3, Escape from Whoop Island, when Brittany, another spy that works for Whoop Australia, her plane goes down on the island and the girls have to save her. Whoop Island is where they leave the most dangerous villains. Going back to the topic of his family, let's discuss his mother, who was introduced in the episode Mummy Dearest. I do not get how the head of a secret spy organisation is so unaware of the things going on around him. Firstly, both his siblings are evil, and he also missed the fact that his mother was a spy. We discover in season 5, final, Totally Dunzo, that his mother is a spy and Jerry somehow missed that fact. You might say I am being a tad dramatic. Yes, this entire video is a joke, I do not care that much. But it was fun building a case against Jerry. Maybe I should become a lawyer, considering the irreversible damage he did to these children. That is all the reasons I think Jerry is unfit to run Whoop. His cruel recruitment methods, his inability to spot danger, his lack of skills running things. A good portion of Jerry's problems would be solved if he mind-wiped both former employees who often seek revenge after he fires them. And it's not because they don't have mind-wipe technology, because when Jerry realised Mandy would not be a good spy, he erased her memory. And the guy in suits who follow Jerry around, I'm pretty sure their job is to tidy up messes villains make and erase civilians' memories. So clearly they have no problems erasing civilians' memories and messing with people's heads. This video doesn't even count all of his crimes because, as I mentioned earlier, earlier when I was talking about his sister Sherry. There's a whole spin-off series to this show called The Amazing Spies, and Jerry is the main boss like he is in this show. So he's probably doing more heinous things to those children too. That will be all. Good. Bye!